Minaro's office to make a format for it. So, hello, I'm seeing you. So I told him to put my name because this is my personal computer, but he forgot that and put his name, the name of his office. So it's still Minaro's.
Quite interesting. Well, it's gonna take me some editing to just change that.
I know. I didn't discover that just before our first meeting on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
I forgot that thing, so I didn't notice that thing.
So, Mademoiselle Osama, tell us a little bit about your day.
That's good. That's good.
How's your day? I haven't touched base with you for the past few weeks because of
Uh,
course Ramadan and all the
yeah.
complications of post Ramadan and some other activities and duties. So what kind of updates do you have in your package for me tonight?
Well, first one is my task regarding coronavirus dramatic increasing that figure you showed with me in India. I completed and sent it to you. Um, you remember it, or if you check it?
I am looking at it right now and I have some
Okay.
impression that I will reveal to you once you finish.
Negative or positive?
Well, since negative is highly welcomed nowadays, it's a good result, which is funny that once you get a negative result nowadays, it seems that it is positive.
Hmm, very good, very good.
I
When I,
mean,
when I knew
let's
that you mentioned that there are many negative points in my writing, it's
I
something
wouldn't use the
exciting.
word negative. And if somebody told you that I'm using this word, I think they are lying. I'm not going to use the word negative. Tending to be a little bit diplomatic, but strict with you guys who are going to take the test
Uh-huh.
soon. But I'm not going to say it's negative. I need to sugarcoat that. And
Mhm.
sugarcoating means I just need to cover it like a capsule with good taste and sweet
Yeah, I know.
flavor, so
Mhm.
that it's not gonna give you the real bad medicine inside it or the bad tasting medicine inside it.
Yeah, yeah.
I have some reservation to tahaffuz on some parts of it, and I'm not gonna blame you for that. I usually attribute to my shortcomings when it comes to flooding you with enough training practice. But I know within the busyness of your schedule and commitments and obligations, it seems really hard to pull the cord tighter than it should be on your neck in this case. But I think we are just doing some good progress.
Mhm.
Turtle slow progress, but
Yeah.
especially in writing. Not only you, but generally speaking, I've been working with like few clients of mine, including
Mhm.
you, of course, but I don't consider you as a client. um, but nomenclature is this way. I have Zainab, who is a prospective IELTS test taker, and she's a doctor,
Mhm.
and she's been doing great, pretty good actually. But there are this common syndrome among you, and that is the smuggling of some terminology from Arabic to English.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that can be really overcame. It can We can overcome this by reading out loud um,
Mhm.
the essay or thinking of it in your mind before saying it, saying that thing. Like for example, starting a paragraph saying, "This is just the introduction." Um,
Mhm.
Starting the paragraph uh, saying uh, يعني زاد الطين بلة,
Mhm.
and trying to transfer that to English. how do you commonly translate, not translate, but say it in English? Sean, do you remember when we talked about like we should not translate literally, but we should ask ourselves, how do they say it in English? Do you remember
Yes,
that?
yes, I remember. I remember also you told me that do not translate شيء من هذا ومن ذاك directly from Arabic to English, because that will be right.
That is not going to be correct to some extent. It is going to be comprehensible, by the way. It's going to be understood, I assure you, by native speakers. They understand what you're trying to say, but this is not a context of how they say it in English. Let me grab my pen. Yes, it can be understood by them. Like, for example, زاد الطين بلة. So we have this expression. We think of it as very formal. We want to say it. We have the urge to say it.
What does she say? Increase the clay. What?
Yeah, that's not going to work, actually. That wouldn't make any sense to them in English. So we just need to have an alternative, or just plainly choose expression or a word that just means something, or we just avoid it. We either have to avoid this kind of expression in case we are not 95% sure about it, or we throw it on the table, assuming people will understand what we mean. That's pretty much what's in my mind right now regarding this. In English, they say to add fuel, to add gasoline to fire, or to add fuel to fire. That is how they say it in English, but we have to think of the equivalence here. Now, the question is, how do we find these kind of common expressions? First of all, we just Google the most common ones, because these are, I mean, not necessarily have to go through ton of examples and sayings in English in order to memorize them off your top of your head. But to just go over the most common expressions and use some of them selectively, because that is going to indicate the depth of your language level.
I think وليد, using the says الأمثلة,
sayings.
using the sayings. I think using the sayings in English to make the picture of something more closer to
the image.
Yes, the image is more closer, is coming by two ways, either by reading over and over or by connecting with the native people. I think it is a next stage for the students, maybe like me, at least.
Well, I think we are in a context where we will have lack of contact with native speakers, and it's a necessity to find an alternative here. I mean, if you are looking for native speakers, they are always busy. They wouldn't have available time for you just to sit and chat with you. They're just that's not gonna be a possibility here. But I think going over alternatives here are quite welcomed and quite common. I've seen so many people who have mastered English and they haven't stepped abroad. And that's just because they have worked diligently and stubbornly to improve their English. And no matter how many challenges that they've come across, they overcame, and they became better and closer to the professional English speakers. We can never be native speakers, but you can be very professional English speaker.
Yes.
However, I'm thinking of the possibility and the necessity of these kind of common sayings. And, you know, I'm not sure if you see this or not, but this is just a simple indicator of task completion, cohesion and coherence, grammatical range, and lexical range. Under the category of lexical range, we can use one or two common sayings in English, like to add gasoline to fire, to indicate that you have good width and depth with English, and this can give some sort of better impression by the evaluator or the examiner when it comes to determining whether you're 6.5 or 7.5 or 8?
Could you support us as students in, if you have a time, um, with the famous sayings in English, Walid?
There are very
And
common
and
ones.
each one, and it's translated in Arabic, so we can use it in, sometimes in English instead of the Arabic without translating directly.
Well, it's we think of sayings as fish in river. So we either have to build a net to fish the fish when they pass through that, so you can filter them out. But it's really hard to to throw a hook somewhere in the river and expect to find a ton of fish out there. I think this is bad analogy here, but the idea is that there are common expressions, common sayings, common idiomatic expressions, and the more you use when it comes to finding good idiomatic expression or saying in English, the better. But this is not our point of discussion for tonight, and I don't want to digress further because I want to focus on something more significant and important, and that is we have in our topic of tonight the issue of writing. I'll give you quick feedback on your writing, and then we will shift to 36 pages of essays that we need to work on and go through. Once we synthesize this list of questions that relatively come in IELTS test, we would have a general overview of the kind of expected questions out there. Now, when it comes to questions that they ask you in the independent essay task number 2, they either ask you for suggestions or opinion, or they ask you to argue with or against, or to ask you to express your ideas regarding particular thing. We'll just talk a little bit about it later. For the time being, I prefer just to jump to the topic of discussion entitled COVID cases in India. Now, this is the scale. I've taken it from Google a few days ago, and I've sent that to you for sake of authenticity. I thought that it might be useful for you just to go through this better than just using the samples taken from IELTS, because this is more authentic, reliable when it comes to giving you feedback, and it's not going to take us offshore. Now, do you see what I'm seeing?
Yes.
Okay.
I see you are controlling your screen.
What do you mean you're controlling your screen? Like, do you see the text?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want you to do is just to give me introduction or presentation of what kind of changes you've made here. And then we'll jump to my feedback. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I started with the diagram and started with the title or the topic, which is what that diagram talking about. An increase, 2 parts of an increasing in the cases of COVID-19 in India. One of those at the August of 2020, and the second at the April of 2021. And I started to speaking about the first in increasing the August of 2020, which was 100,000.
Osama, Osama, something irrelevant to the kind of presentation here. Now, when you speak English, you're speaking the same speed that you're speaking Arabic to me. I want you to slow down and think carefully of the word you're choosing when you're speaking. Especially that is going to save you some time, like half a second or 1 second slower is better than faster fluent speaker with grammatical errors and grammatical mistakes. So slowing down and being very clearly expressive clear, expressive person is better than speaking fluently with common errors. Now, to speak fluently is to speak with faster like native speakers, but with common errors that might occur here and there.
Yeah.
So again, the diagram shows the data.
Yeah. The diagram shows a data of new cases recorded of COVID-19 that hit a huge population country, which is India. I started to speak about the beginning of the year 2020. It is not the beginning, sorry, but it is the beginning of the diagram, but there is an increase in the cases at nearly at August or September of 2020. And there is another increase at April 2021. You will be shocked from the reasons that I will mention at the last of this paragraph, why there are two increases dramatically in the cases recorded in this country.
April 27th and April 18th, August 27th and April 18th, there's a spike increase.
Yeah. And you will be shocked why there are two dramatically increasing in the cases in this country, which is regarded or considered the third biggest country in production of the vaccine that used for fighting this killing virus. So return back to the beginning of 2020, we can see that there is a steady curve in the new recorded cases till the mid of the year. In September, there is so clear that there was an increase in the cases, which reached 100,000 cases. In the later month, until the end of 2020, there is a constant number of cases again. And this is very strange because there is a steady state in the cases in the before September 2020 and after that a crazy month of cases. In March 2021, there is another increase. You can see that the cases increased dramatically again to reach a scary number, which is four times the last recorded number, which is 400,000 cases. This increase in cases could be because of many reasons. I started with first one, which is the poor hygiene, and that according to my observations when I visited India at August 2019. Poor hygiene is one of the most important features in the street, or maybe even in the institutions when you have a tour in India. Second, the huge number of population in this country in general and in each area in particular that prevent them from doing good or needful social distancing between them. You can imagine that each family at least consists of 12 or 13 members in the same house, and the houses of Indian families are so small in compare with the number of the family. Third cause, they believe in religion more than in science. There were so many voices that call the Indian people to get the vaccination or at least to do the social distancing between them at the beginning of this pandemic, sorry, but no one can listen for that voices, and they listening for the voices of religion that call them for do some prayer for a cow or do some prayer for a statue to ask them to help in fighting this virus. Sorry. While the figure illustrate illustrates the increase by 4 times in comparison with the cases of the last
in comparison,
in comparison
in
in
comparison.
comparison yeah in comparison with the cases of the last year, we can find that there are times of some health stability. And I think we cannot generalize the poor hygiene or the poor social distancing for all Indian people, because of course there are some of them, or a large number of them, which can be regarded as educated people. So those educated people, of course, do some commit for the health instruction and this type related with this type of pandemic or epidemic. And maybe there is social distancing, using sanitizers, and as well as wearing facial mask. All those reasons may be were the cause of steady state concentration in the cases before August to 2020, before September 2020, and after that before April 2021. In addition, also, the vaccination play a vital role in the process of fighting that killing virus. And in the result, we can get this diagram that illustrate or show us the scenario of cases of COVID-19 in this country. Yeah.
Going back to point number one here, the diagram shows. Now here we have more liberty when it comes, Sama, to express our thoughts, because what we're doing, we're simply running some sort of observation of what is happening here. So we are not obligated to strictly follow the design of the paragraph in task number 2, where you have to write an independent essay. The scenario here is a bit different and more flexible. However, we're just doing observation. We are just reporting. We're not showing opinion. We're just reporting. That's the data reporting here, which is our priority. So in addition, the diagram shows the data of new cases of COVID-19 that hits a huge population country, India. This seems off-putting since the idea that you're reporting is simply talking about India. So steady population of India. So you have to say of India. Do you see my comment?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, perfect. So in the beginning of 2020, we can see, instead of saying we can see, you may use it is observable. It is observable that there is a steady curve in the but when we say steady curve in the new recorded cases until the mid of the year of 2020. Okay. In September, here I see that we should add joints. Like, think of the paragraph, Osama, as of a human body anatomy, that between every two bones connected, there are certain joints and cartridges and some sort of like fabrics that connects the bones. So the friction is smoothened out. I don't know if this is a word or not, but so once you have two bones friction with each other, that's gonna cause some sort of later on osteoporosis. Yes. I think that's the word. So what happens is that we just need some sort of sponge in between. Think of the paragraph, English paragraph, exactly the same as the friction that happens here. Once there is no good transition, there is no flexibility, so the reader and the whole structure of the paragraph is going to be having higher friction, and this causing osteoporosis eventually, which is translated into lack of comprehension in the mind of the reader. this is the closest example that I can think of right now. So in September 2020, there was a clear increase. Now, the other observation that I have for you is that try to avoid sudden transitions in time. Like here, you're talking past, correct? Here,
Yeah.
you're talking present. So this shift will just cause some trouble in the mind of the reader. Increase in the cases which reached 100,000 cases. Okay. In the later months and till the end of 20, there is a constant, there should be comma here. There is, so again, there is, this is present.
Yes.
Constant number of cases again. In March, it can be seen that the cases increased dramatically. I love this. So big heart for you here.
Thank you.
Okay. This increase in cases could be because of many reasons. Now, nobody is talking about reasons of this increase. And I think it's your own proactive skills to interpret that, since you have some pharmaceutical background. Nobody has asked you to give comment on the justification of why this dramatic increase happened. This increase in cases could be because of many reasons. First, the poor hygiene. Second, the huge number of population in this country in general and in each area in particular. Third, they believe in religion more than science.
Yes, they believe.
They believe. While the figure illustrates the increase of 4 times in comparison with the cases of the last year, we can find that there are times of some healthy stability. This is not phrased correctly, but it should be rephrased better. Now, we should not start a sentence with a verb, like unless you're ordering, like eat, where the subject is hidden and implied, means you eat. So comment to health instructions for this epidemic may be the reason for healthy stability. Also, healthy stability, I'm not sure if this is something common in English, like we never say that. I don't know. Healthy stability, maybe it's not that quite common. Social distancing, using hand sanitizers, and as well as maybe here we can say in addition, and then here we can just assume by saying finally, and then blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then that's pretty much, I would give you 7 actually for this kind of essay. To be honest, for cohesion and coherence, I would give you 6.5. For task completion, I would give you definitely 7.5. And for grammatical range, I'm not sure. They still have some struggles here and there. And for lexical diversity, you're good. Like I would give you 7. So the average of this, I don't know, 7, 6.5. I don't know, I'm not sure. You can calculate that. So that's my assessment here. You can check it out later, should you like that. Okay, so that's my comment. I'll send you the document later.
Okay.
No. Done with it.
6.75.
6.7. Oh yeah, 6.75. Like I would say 7. Around 7. That's safer to be said here. Going to our meets.
By the way, I followed. I have read the examples that you shared with me in a PDF file, and there is something similar to this diagram. There is a diagrams from different for different topics. So I read it very carefully. Maybe I read 4 of these and bent the sequences of the sentences or the paragraph in building my essay. It was very, very useful to me.
Thank you. Moving on to our main topic of tonight, which is going to be discussing around 35 pages, 29 pages. I'm gonna go easy on this Uh, um,
Yeah.
this is related to paragraph 2, but in a sense, it carries the same DNA of paragraph 1 or essay 1. So this is from a book. I've scouted few books about IELTS writing,
Yeah.
and I chose this because it's very important, and it has a key idea with so many examples where we can just invest on. So this is general introduction. I'll just walk through this. I'll send you the documents. You can print it out, have a look at it, and try to understand it in your relaxing time. So the IELTS essay is the second part of the writing section. We've talked a little bit about it. You know about task response or task completion. This is something we've talked about. Cohesion and coherence we talked about. We have covered lexical diversity, which is how many academic vocabulary that you have. And then grammatical range. You know this because we've talked a ton about it.
Yeah.
And GRA, which is grammatical range and accuracy. This means you can use simple, complex, and compound sentences along with proper punctuation correctly. So we have band 6, band 7, band 8, and band 9, where we are what we are shooting for, hopefully, fingers crossed. For band 9, you have to fully address all parts of the task, present a well-developed response to the questions with relevant, extended, and supported ideas. See ideas and details. Use cohesion in such a way that it attracts no tension. Skillfully manage paragraphing. So transitions, the joins that I'm talking about here. Use a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control of lexical features. Rare minor errors occur only as slips. يعني زلات لسان, السحقات, هيك ممكن نسميها. And then use a wide range of structures with full flexibility and accuracy, with rare minor errors occurring on only as slips.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's certain differences between errors and mistakes. In error,
which is
well, the point is a little bit complicated here to talk about, but generally speaking, a mistake is when you say he are here.
Okay.
That can be
a mistake.
That's a mistake. An error saying she is here and using the spelling of here as if you're saying here, I hear you. So
okay.
Or that's a spelling issue. So that might be under the category of error, or repeating or adding extra letter to one of the words. So it's error, like it shows error, like when we do not write the password correctly, does it show as a mistake or an error? That's a question.
Sorry?
When you write down, when you type up a password, does it and you type it in a wrong way?
Yes, it's an error.
It's an
not
error.
A mistake.
That's because you didn't choose the correct code or digit here.
Yes.
Or you just added an extra. So that's the difference here. So mistakes should be completely avoided here.
Completely wrong.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So common essay questions. I highly doubt that we need to understand this in details, because when we talk about the common essay questions, there are variety, hundreds of types actually. So no matter what kind of question, we just need to stick to the framework that we talked about: introduction, body, and conclusion, with sufficient paragraphing and sufficient amount of details to write here and there. So you end up with writing good paragraph. For opinion, you just need to state your opinion, whether you agree or disagree. And then opinion 2, is this positive or negative development? And then opinion 3, are the advantages more than the disadvantages? And this is to counterbalance, like you need to balance so you show them that you're not biased. أنت مو متحيز. And then you discuss the essay, advantages and disadvantages, problems and solutions, and then the other questions. Here, we just need to go through this list only, which is very important. Contractions are not allowed. Contractions هنا مو التقلصات اللي ببالك. هنا contractions معناها الاختصارات. So he is instead of saying he is.
Abbreviations?
No. Abbreviations are like saying WHO, World Health Organization. That's WHO.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we call abbreviation. Here we're talking about contractions. اللي هي اختصارات. يعني الكلمة تختصرها.
Oh, yeah.
You should
cancel one letter, for example.
They're very common. Like he is instead of saying. So you should not say he is or she is. هذه الاختصارات, you should never say them in writing. Don't use informal language. Don't use it. Always paraphrase or use synonyms when possible. That means paraphrasing is when we see the question. And you remember when we got training on how you paraphrase the statement so you can do the introduction using the question itself. And then using synonyms, المرادفات. You should not repeat the same word again and again and again and again and again and again. It's just boring. Do not use templates اللي هي النماذج الجاهزة اللي هي مثل composition واحد يحفظ إنشاء ويجي يجاوب. No cliche. For example, instead of writing every coin has two sides, it is better to write every argument has two sides. So this kind of cliche, try to avoid it. هذه الأقوال العامية اللي دارجة مثلا. It is good to write complex sentences. However, with complex sentences, we should make sure that they are clearly understood, not just complicated in a way. Have you seen the earphones or the headphone cord when it gets so much complicated and it's really hard to take it out and plug it in your ears so you can listen to me? It takes, so complex sentences are like that kind of cord. In most cases, you're expected to give your opinion. يعني هذا لا مناص منه. And you have to say your opinion, but in a way that seems very smooth and clear. But you may also have to include your life experience and relevant examples to support your opinion. The topics of the IELTS writing questions are supposed to be of general interest. You do not need to be very specialized in your field in order to talk about this topic. Do not copy whole sentences or long phrases from the question. This is something absolutely forbidden. You should not just copy the question, and I think you've passed this kind of level. The introduction should be approximately 35 to 50 words long. So that's just the introduction, and then you move to the body of the paragraph. Are we good?
Yes, we are good.
Let's skip this. It keeps talking about the opinion, but I want you to understand the structure of it. There should be introduction, body, second paragraph, third paragraph, and then conclusion. In fact, it's preferable to write 5 paragraphs. So the introduction, 3 paragraphs, and then conclusion. Are we good?
Yes, we are good.
Remember here in the conclusion, you have to restate your opinion that you completely agree or disagree.
Yes.
And then we have the balanced opinion essays, and you need to counterbalance opinion number 1 with opinion number 2. So again, introduction, body, second, third. So you see, no matter what kind of paragraphs we are writing, you just need to stick to the framework of 5 paragraphs. This is going to give you more superpower to focus on 5 paragraphs. But if you just don't have any idea in your mind, your brain is going to write 3 paragraphs for the introduction, and you didn't have enough space to write the conclusion and the body. So it's really hard. And then discussion essays, again, introduction, body. Am I going fast?
No. No, you're normal.
I think this is just general framework we've talked a lot about, but I'm just walking you through this. It's okay to say I believe, and I agree, but I would avoid saying the word I agree. It's very common and not formal, not quite formal. Remember we talked about the advantages and disadvantages when we talked about.
Sorry, Walid, but I noticed that he allows me to use I think, but you told me that to avoid using I think because it refers to selfish. This is.
It's not selfish. I remember when we talked a lot about this, but overusing it is forbidden, or not forbidden, but it's not likely going to give you better chance to deal with the actualities here. So just maybe you can use it once and try to embed it. Like instead of saying, I believe,
in my opinion,
I believe that school education is better than home education. Instead of saying this, you can say, it is believed that school education is better than. Maybe stating this is going to help you avoid reporting or citing things directly from you. Then we have the advantage and disadvantage essay. We've written a paragraph about this when we talked about communication using cars. And then again, introduction, body, and conclusion. 5 paragraphs. Totally. You notice here that the topic sentence advantages and disadvantages, and 2 to 5 sentences, 2 advantages and then you say 2 advantages of or disadvantages. This is just to balance the kind of conclusion, and then the restatement or restate. So it's kind of common here. Problem solution, cause and effect essay. Again, just a framework, but this kind of problem solution, opinion, questions, these are the kind of themes of the questions that they will come.
Yes.
We'll see the questions. And then index here is the reference to the majority of the questions that come in IELTS. So most of the questions, probably 99.5% of the questions that you will see in future in IELTS are within this index. This index is the categorization of the kind of questions that will come for the independent essay. As an example, children facing academic, social, and commercial pressures. What do you think are the causes, and what are your solutions? So this is problem solution kind of an essay. Do you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Page, okay, so this is essay topics. That's a problem and solution. Here, people should keep all the money they earn and should not pay tax to the states. Agree or disagree? It's clearly that when you say I agree, that is going to be your opinion. So this is an opinion essay. Are we clear?
Yes, we clear.
That's in a nutshell the kind of questions that will come, either agree or disagree, or problem solution, or with or against. People should keep all the money they earn and should not pay tax to the state. Agree or disagree? Cultural traditions destroyed when aimed at tourists. Or is it the only way to save traditions? Discuss and give your opinions. Reading stories from a book versus watching TV or playing computer games for children. Which one do you like? Or do you agree or disagree for this? Which one do you prefer or not prefer? Children have more freedom than in the past. Is this a positive or a negative development? Of course, you're going to say, well, I think. Once you say, I think, this is your opinion, so it's an opinionated kind of essay. Many goods transported for a long distance. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages؟ هل الفوائد مالتها فوق عدد المضار؟ The only way to protect the environment is at an international level. Do you agree or disagree?
Opinion.
Advertising has an increased effect on our lives.
Mm.
Do the positive effects of this outweigh the negative effects?
Mhm.
Today, there is increase in antisocial behavior and lack of respect for others. Okay, especially in new generation. Interview is not a reliable method of recruitment. المقابلة مو هي أفضل وسيلة للحصول على موظفين جيدين. To what extent do you agree or disagree بحكم شغلك في الشركة? Fast
Yes,
food
opinion.
restaurants and supermarkets fund schools to promote their products. Is it positive or negative? Young people know about international pop and movie stars, but
Uh-huh.
no less about famous historical people,
Yes.
reasons and solutions.
Business.
All of these questions have come before in IELTS. They are not from the mind of the writer.
Mhm.
They're all questions that came in previous IELTS tests.
Mhm.
That's why I chose this index, because it's just as authentic as possible that I could find. Environment problems are increasing. Government steps at a global level got few solutions, reasons, and solutions. A lot of people in college are doing academic study. We should encourage them to do vocational skills, maharat, vocational, mehaniya, like
Yeah.
plumbers and electricians. Do you agree or disagree? In most
Mhm.
societies, the role of mother and father differs. Causes. What will be the parental roles in future? If children behave badly, should their parents take responsibility and also be punished? State your opinion. If you state your opinion, that is going to be an opinion essay, and you're going to write it through the 5 paragraphs. 99
Walid,
point.
for 15 and 16, what is the difference between direct question and discussion? I think they are so similar to, so near to each other.
Osama, I wouldn't care at all about the essay type, because this is just a framework. When they present this to you, they just need to contextualize things and put them in a framework that can be introduced to clients so they understand it, so they go and take the test for. But generally speaking, whether you're writing an opinion, you're writing agreement or disagreement, it all goes back to the question of whether you are going to write well or not. And writing well or not is just understanding the philosophy of how you would structure the framework, put grammatical connectors here, first of all, in the beginning, then later on, and furthermore, and moreover, and then connecting the paragraphing correctly, and then adding the summary of the introduction and the conclusion.
Yes, I understand.
So essay type wouldn't change the content of my writing. I wouldn't, that's why I didn't care about it when I introduced it to you here. Now going to 17, we are going just to cover 20, and you have the freedom to go through all of that. You have 19 pages of questions that came in IELTS. It's highly recommended that you go over all of the questions to help you understand the questions that might come to your exam. Industrial growth is necessary to solve poverty, or is it causing environmental problems? Distance learning programs, برامج التعليم عن بعد, cannot bring the benefit as the attending college or university. دروسنا اللي أنا وياك بدنا ناخذها هذه online يسموها distance learning. Are they as beneficial as me sitting next to you in the classroom and giving you a class, or not? Government should fund sports and art for school students rather than professional sports, arts, and events. Agree or disagree? Now the machine is very complex. A lot of work is automated. Machine automation, مكننة العمل. هل هذا له جوانب إيجابية وسلبية؟ Pros and cons, this is opinion, technology, and automation. Newspapers have influenced people's ideas and opinions, reasons. Is this positive or negative? situation. بدل newspapers ممكن نخلي social networks. ممكن هي هذه تكون واحدة من المؤشرات على أن يعني هل الناس تتأثر إيجابيا أو سلبيا. اليوم أنا سمعت أنه عدد الملقحين بالعراق هو فقط 500,000 من أصل 40 مليون.
Yeah, you're right.
أكو دكتورين اثنين يقولون أنه اللقاحات تسبب
Sorry?
اكو دكاتره اثنين انا اعتقد الناس ما تلقح بسببهم، ما راح اذكر اسمائهم لانه
يا اعرفهم
بدون ذكر اسماء، بس الفكره انه
so famous.
يعني ذولي اعتقد هوايه من الناس ما راحوا لقحوا بسببهم.
اي نعم.
عموما هذا يعني النقطه ده ذكرتني هذا السوشيال ميديا شلون تاثر على الناس. عموما هذه الحد نقطه 20 4.20. اريد تختار واحد من هذه الاسئله وتجاوبني عليها، تخليها بالجوجل درايف، ومن تكملها تقول لي انا كملتها حتى انطيك فيدباك عليها. تاسك نمبر 1. تاسك نمبر 2 عندك 19 pages. Just go through the questions. Nothing else. Just go through the questions, try to understand it. In your subconscious mind, I assure you, once you slowly read it, in your subconscious mind, your mind is going to be ready to answer that question when you see it in future.
Yes.
That's it.
Of course. Okay. Thank you very much, Walid. But before finishing this meeting, I have a question.
Yes, sir. I thought you have a gift.
Thank you. Did you know about the new mode of IELTS tests, which is computerized? They refer it by CDT, computer delivered test. What do you think about it?
Well, I haven't taken the test that is computerized, but it's pretty much the same. Honestly, like it's going to be relatively easier than just the chaos of the old-fashioned IELTS test.
Yeah, I saw some videos on YouTube about it, but there is advantage and disadvantage. The advantage maybe it will facilitate the printing down for those people that have worse handwriting, bad handwriting, but there is no extra time. That's 10 minutes after the putting your answers on the paper sheet to transfer it to the test sheet. There is no extra time.
That's because you're just going to transfer it directly in the computer.
Yes. Yes.
I assure you, between now and the time you are going to take the test, they are going to take care of that. Also, you don't need to transfer that from the sheet. I think this is not for you, particularly. You can definitely deliver the correct answer directly. And once you transfer that, you wouldn't be able to listen to the recording. So you should have directly put the answers in the screen when you hear that. So the 10 minutes is just extra delay. You don't need that, honestly. Like I've taken the IELTS test and I didn't see a whole benefit of just copying and pasting that. You don't need that. It's just longer. I assure you they would definitely take care of that. And the computer-based is going to minimize the amount of pressure you get once you see hundreds of people in the classroom taking the test, putting their headphones, trying to write down with miserable handwriting. All of that is taken care of. I think it's so much better. Some people might hesitate to take it just because they've never experienced something like IELTS computerized. So there is this hesitation, like the hesitation that is coming from the vaccine. So don't worry about it. I think you can take the test blindfolded on computerized. The version, it's just, I would definitely recommend it. I've been hoping so much to computerize this test to compete with TOEFL, because TOEFL is just a nightmare in the old version.
Oh, wow.
The new version is relatively better, but it's just a test. Take it. Come on, don't keep getting nightmares on it. Just
You cannot imagine how I excited to take IELTS this time.
Inshallah.
This is because of you, of
Thank
course.
you. I really think that you're gonna be getting 7.5 to 8. But you just need you do not need to magnify this test. It's just a test, and
Yes.
let's think of it as a computer game.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much, Sama, and stay in touch.
Time, Mr. Waleed. Thank you.
I'll send you the
Thank you. Have a
document.
nice day.
I'll send you the
Of course.
PDF document on Skype.
Yes.